What's going on, guys? It is I, SomeJoeSchmoe, and we need to talk about Black Christmas. I'm not talking about the 1970s version. I'm not talking about the reboot in 2000. I'm talking about the reboot of the reboot in 2019. Now, for all intents and purposes, I'm gonna only be really referencing the 2006 one, because it's the most familiar for me and it's the one that I pretty much grew up on. Now, one of the big takes I took away from this whole 2019 viewing experience is maybe it wasn't for me. I can only imagine what the 2006 version was to the 1974 people who liked that movie and kind of thought it was a lot about just cannibalism and, incestual relationships and really shitty parents. And this one has a lot of elements that are feminist driven, I would say. Now, the problem is, when talking about this movie, before we even dive into it, is that it's so difficult to critically talk about this movie in any sort of, bad manner. Because of the fact is, nowadays, you can't talk about a movie that has, a female-driven cast negatively, unless you are some sort of misogynistic pig or whatnot, and, you hate female-led movies. But the truth of the matter, guys, I just hate bad movies. Let's go ahead and just dive into this stupid movie. Black Christmas starts off with sorority girl here taking a little stroll and having her sorority sister check in on her.
I was your Secret Santa, and I got the perfect Lindsay gift. Oh my God. You told me yours disappeared. And every girl needs a little self-care. Now you'll never need a man.
Yeah, we literally get a dildo reference and like a man bashing line in the first minute of the movie, which that just sets the stage for this whole, shit show that we're about to view. As she's walking home, starts getting blown up on an app of hers. What is it, Nick Knock, Blick Block, Dick Butt, some sort of random app that I guess this college campus uses, and immediately just assumes that the guy following her is the one sending messages. Now listen, ladies. Hey, ladies. I have no idea what it's like to be on your guard like this. But is it just one of those things that you just automatically assume that a guy that's following you is the one that's messaging you? I digress. We won't get into that. The only thing I can really think about is what if she just turned around and assaulted the guy immediately, who was just probably texting his girlfriend hey honey, I'm on my way. Do you want me to pick up a nice ham, maybe a bottle of champagne? It's gonna be a great night. Our first Christmas together, baby's on its way. Really just hoping, bam, just immediately decked out. Anyway, as she turns around after trying to confront this would-be assailant, confronts the would-be assailant. And here we have the first kill of our movie in a very dramatic sense. She gets murdered in front of this house, which literally is gonna be the only Christmas theme in this movie are just Christmas decorations. There really is no other Christmas theme throughout this movie. Now again, in the 2006 version, there are tons of themes of, Christmas music. It takes place during Christmas. I believe it's like Christmas Eve, around the time of Christmas, but it's just, there's so many narratives and themes throughout the 2006 version. And even the flashbacks take place during Christmas that, there's just no other conceptual themes that have to do with Christmas. Just Christmas decorations, and that's it. Now, the way we're introduced to Riley is that a sister of her comes in asking for a Diva Cup.
Minutes and I can't find my Diva Cup.
I had no idea what a Diva Cup is, as I'm sure a wide audience of men didn't know what a Diva Cup is until we searched for it. Now there's a whole selection of men out there that are familiar with this. Why this was the case? I mean, it's not like the original had to do anything with that. It's not like I have to put a scene in my movie that comes in saying hey, I had a wet dream, can I change the sheets out? We're immediately introduced to the rest of her sisters and the rest of the main cast of this movie. We're introduced to Chris, who Chris is exactly what I think of when I think of Twitter and feminists. And she is just one of the worst representations of a character I've ever seen in a movie.
Hi there. Do you understand my position against Professor Gelson and the ruthless misogyny of higher education?
You already got the college to remove the founder's bus from the administration building.
He owned slaves in the North.
I read he killed disobedient women and ritual sacrifices to male pagan gods.
Oh, men get away with this sort of behavior, then they'll get away with everything.
I thought we were sisters. You guys don't want to fight the good fight. You don't want to confront the white supremacist patriarchy.
And that's the problem with not only the female characters of this movie, but the male characters are just represented in such a, like I said, surface level version of what their characters are that it's so hard to take them seriously. I found myself thinking Is this a satire movie? Are these characters created to be the most satirical versions of themselves? Because I can't honestly believe that these were real characters and it was a conscious decision to make them this way. It has to be like a joke, right? I can't really bring my... Anyway. We also have Marty and Jesse who, I mean, they pretty much have no character development throughout this movie. Methinks they're on their way to one-way straight to Death Town, mate. We're shown a scene in which Riley, and I believe it's Marty or Jesse, are in a class with none other than Robin Hood himself. Robin Hood, we're men in tights. Robin Hood here, also known as Carrie Elwes, is, you know, talking down to Riley, a little bit of patronizing tone.
He's saying that women think with their instincts and men think with their brains, and that women live in men's worlds, whether they like it or not.
You said he. What makes you think the author is a man?
You dumb bastard.
I believe he's teaching like a men's study course? Something like that. And this is where, of course, Chris comes back into play trying to, I guess, get rid of his teachings because she doesn't agree with the education that he's trying to provide.
Hey, Gelson's going down.
I still don't understand why you want to get him fired so bad.
Because he went totally crazy on me when all I did was ask why his syllabus has no women on it.
Again, the way they portray her is just, it's so bad. It's just so on the nose, and it just makes me hate her as a character, and I don't know if this is what they're trying to do, but they're doing a great job of it. This is where my horror logic here tries to deduce, boom, it's gotta be then Robin Hood. They're setting up Robin Hood as suspect number 1 in this horror movie of ours. Next scene, boom, Riley, working hard or hardly working in her coffee shop, is just kind of lounging around with her friends while she's doing her thing, you know, really just fighting for the good cause, when in actuality, I just don't care about any of this in a horror movie.
Gelson's going down.
Is she supposed to be what like the very high sex drive characters were in like 80s horror movies, where it's like you want these characters to be killed off first because they're just like, you know, back in the day, like, oh, you're losing your virginity, you're having sex, you're gonna die. And then nowadays it's like, oh, you're a very fond activist and you want things changed, you're gonna die. I really don't understand. I don't know why this is such a heavy theme in this. That's the only thing, again, that I can deduce, is that they want us to just not like this character, I guess. Soy boy Landon here comes on in. This is why I never hold the door open for people. Do you open it up like one person, you let the next person behind you, like, you know, hold it open. It's like the chain reaction of, you know, door opening. Hold it open, next person. Hold it open, next person. Now, while busting her ass off, lounging around with her friends, we're introduced to a character from, I believe it's the fraternity DKO. I don't remember the name, Delta Kappa Omicron, is that what it was? We get a little backstory then about a sexual assault incident that happened between Riley and the once president of the DKO fraternity.
Excited for tonight? Brian's gonna be there. He's coming up from DC to meet the new pledges.
The only place Brian Huntley belongs is in jail for what he did to Riley.
DKOs throw these like talent competitions, which for whatever reason, yeah, like Riley and her sorority still participate in, which is whatever. And so this is where the whole premise of, you know, trying to get back at DKO, right? They're gonna do something really cool. We're not gonna really say what's gonna happen, but we gotta go to this thing. We gotta perform here. And while at this backstage area, her younger sister of this sorority, who has gone missing. Apparently she's the 4th member. Riley doesn't really want to perform with said group because she's got a little bit of stage fright. What could she possibly be scared of? You know, I mean, granted, sure, stage fright, it's a big deal. I wonder if there's any other reason why she would be scared. Anyway, Tomb Raider Lara Croft here goes exploring, looking for this 3rd or 4th member of this TLC group here. And, you know, upon her rumblings and tumblings and searching, discovers that one of the fraternity brothers is like putting some weird like black goo. And listen, guys, I gotta just say, like, does anybody else ever get like a real thick like homosexual vibe from fraternities? Like just a lot of like brotherhood. Hey, yeah. If I touch your dick, that's no big deal, right? No, you're gay. It's like, it's so like, I don't know. Maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I've never been a part of fraternity, so it's like, I don't get the whole brotherhood aspect, but it's... Anyway, she eventually finds the 4th sister that's gonna perform and has a little PTSD from what she starts to see here.
Helena?
Dude, what the hell?
I've been looking for you.
Right, you found her, so get the hell out.
Girls want to practice dance one more time.
You bitches are all the same. You act like you want it, but you're all a bunch of teases.
Now this is the whole thing, right? I'm kind of giving Chris a lot of shit about being like represented as the worst of the worst, but then you have some of the guys in this movie that, again, I don't know a lot of guys who act like this. And it's just like, it's on the nose and it's such a surface level thing. Again, I'm using these terms a lot here, but it's like, bitches, it just is so like sometimes like, I feel like, again, the movie tries to explore these serious matters, but it's taken in such a light direction that it's like, it's hard to take it seriously. Like if you presented something that was actually serious and you want me to actually take it serious, like show me that. But like the way that this character is, I can't, it doesn't come off as serious. I don't know. Anyway, drunk sister here, they decide that, she's way too, obliterated to even perform. So what's gonna have to happen? Riley's then gonna have to take the mantle of that fourth member and get on up in there. And then it's now discovered why exactly she had a little bit of a stage fright.
I didn't know. Ho, ho, ho. I didn't know. Yes, up in the frat house, one true fact.
That is that I got attacked up in the frat house. Shit went down, and I'm telling everyone in town. I didn't lead you on for goodness sake. I couldn't have 'cause I wasn't awake.
But she overcomes that immediately because the song is a great little jib jab to DKO. Wow, girls, really got him good there, didn't you, huh? They don't give a shit, dude. What are you doing? Like, they don't fucking care about this. But of course, Soy Boy Landon's like, yo, girls, that was pretty fire, dude. And this is where, Chris takes it upon herself to, insinuate, hey, bring them to this dinner of ours. We're all staying in for the holidays. We're not visiting our families because we're degenerates. Bring them to this dinner. And so, they start kind of having a little bit of you can kind of see the connection there. And again, my horror logic brain, boom, Landon is now suspect number 2, acting so kind, being a real sweetheart. There's no way they're going to present this guy in a way that is like this without some sort of ulterior motives, right? But then me starts to think, what if this movie is going to try to blindside me and present one of the sisters as the murderers? Like, someone that just misled you. Think about like a Scream 2 situation where Billy Loomis's mother was the killer and kind of circumventing expectations as far as only male killers in this type of movie. Something like this in a movie that's so thick with, female empowerment and anti-male propaganda, you would assume maybe they might throw you a curveball and say it was a woman killer the entire time. No, that's probably not going to happen. Why would we want to do that? And realistically, from that theory of mine would have been way better than what we actually got. But I digress. Let's move on. After the girls slam DKO in a epic cool song, we see that drunk sister is back at home packing her bags for, I guess she's going home for the holidays, only to get, boom, slam dance revolution by the killer himself. We flash forward to the next morning where the girls are going on a tree hunting expedition for their house. But, at this point, we need to kind of get some more deaths and murders off of our bucket list. So let's go ahead and just get, who was it? Diva Cup Girl?
Oh, there you are.
Boom, she's gone as well too. Well, at the tree farm looking for a tree, Riley gets I believe it's a phone call from drunk sister's mother, informing her that she has not heard from her daughter, nor has she arrived at the house or some shit like that. I don't know. Anyway, this causes Riley to get a little kerfuffled and, harness again that Lara Croft Tomb Raider instinct and go hunt for this missing sister. Throughout her little expedition, she finds herself going back to the DKO house that they performed at the previous night, do a little searching, and stumbles upon Mr. Elwes himself, Professor, at the beginning of the movie, who, at this point, it's established, I believe there was a painting in the DKO house showing that he was once a member of that fraternity, so I guess she kind of assumes that like maybe he has something to do with the abduction, but she does bump into him and we see a bunch of papers fall onto the ground. I believe the drunk sister's name is on that list,
I can come back.
as well as a bunch of other individuals. So it's like, again, they're laying it on really thick that Elvis has to do something with this whole situation, right? Either that or they're trying to make it look like he's a part of this whole situation. Later that night, as the girls are preparing for their little dinner, the one that Chris had invited Landon to for Riley, the girls all get into a little bit of a heated argument regarding, I guess it was Chris that had posted the video of their little song online, and so like Riley, I guess, is kind of getting a little flack for that video being out there now, so I guess she kind of takes it as you're using my whole rape incident as a means to like get back at DKO, or you're kind of like, you don't understand what I'm going through. It's at this point that I believe it's Jessie, who can't really deal with confrontation, excuses herself from this ordeal.
No, where are you going?
I'm gonna go get Christmas lights for the dinner decor. When you guys fight, high-key stresses me out.
It's almost like the writers of the movie were like, oh shit, Christmas movie, we haven't really done anything Christmas related, send her upstairs, she's gonna get Christmas lights, yeah, we'll kill her up there. And she gets wasted off camera, I might add. Anyway, as the girls all start fighting and getting into an argument with Marty's boyfriend, we're gonna go ahead and call him Sensible Joe because he's got one of the most sensible conversations with these girls I've seen in a movie of this type.
Excuse me? I told you something like this was gonna happen. Okay, you humiliated those guys up there. Of course they're pissed.
And that gives them an excuse to harass us?
What if a bunch of frat bros had gotten up and sang a song about how, I don't know, women were just bimbos who like to show off their tits, then yeah, you'd be livid.
It's a little different, Smash.
How? Why are you allowed to say all this shit about men and we're supposed to just sit here and take it?
Because men have all the power.
Have power.
Did you just not all men me? Did you just...
Not all men are rapists, Chris, okay? I'm not.
I mean, he's right. He's right. He's kind of just getting shoehorned into like what every male on this campus is supposed to be, like a complete just degenerate and masculine dude who just wants to fuck all the time. And so during this argument, they do kick out Sensible Joe here, and this is, again, they're trying to throw you as many different suspects as possible, because as soon as he's kicked out, boom, boom, all three of them get a message about, you're gonna die tonight, Cindy. And at this point, again, they're trying to make it seem like maybe it's the boyfriend at this point. Suspect number 3, 4, who gives a shit? Soon as he leaves, we get Legolas, Jiminy Robin Hood out of nowhere, striking a bow and arrow into the ankle of Marty. Like, what the fuck is happening? What, a bow and arrow? Jesus Christ, dude. Okay. And furthermore, from what I can recollect from this movie, she barely gets like grazed. Either she gets grazed or she gets like full on hit.
'Tis but a scratch.
She treats the wound as if it's like a life-threatening situation. Like she's in the attic and they're like, oh, Marty, are you okay? And she's just like, you gotta go on. You gotta live. I believe Chris finds the corpse of Jessie upstairs, a shard of glass in her eye. Like, what the f happened to her? We didn't see anything happen. Now, Chris and Riley are like, okay, let's fight back. We gotta do something. Let's go downstairs. I think they want to get their phones because I think they like dropped all their phones and of course, the killer took them all, right? Go downstairs, and this is where I believe the trailer of this movie gave away this whole concept. I was kind of like, it was a reveal for me, but evidently, it's not just one killer. There are multiple hooded figures, or again, it looks like more like Dr. Doom from like the Fantastic Four series with like a weird mask on, but I guess it's just a bunch of guys running around in masks and shit. They start defending themselves, killing them back. I believe one of them kills with like a pair of keys, which is kind of cool. Stabbing in the back, a machete, and it's actually pretty freaking hysterical because, Sensible Joe, boyfriend, comes back to the house because he hears, I believe, all the screaming, and he's like, I can't let the guys, I gotta defend my girlfriend.
Get the girls out of here, all right? Someone hurts my girl, it's my duty to protect them. Show yourself, coward!
Heaven forbid a guy tries to defend his girlfriend in this movie because he's just gonna get axed in the face, or axed in the chest, or just axed in general. At this point of the movie, I believe either Riley or Chris had already made a phone call to campus security. And in a cool little, like, I guess, like, reveal, a campus security shows up at the front of a house, and then it's revealed, boom, the sorority from the beginning of the movie, Miss Dildo herself, that sorority is also encountering killers. So I guess it's like a whole campus-wide situation, I guess. And so I guess that's kind of cool. It's not just like Diva Cup and all of her friends, right? After committing just a bunch of murder in their house, the lights eventually come back on and we find out that I guess it's like the black goo. Like black goo from like in the beginning of the movie where she like stumbled across the fraternity brothers like spreading that shit on their head. Riley and Chris then get into a car and start driving away. And it's at this point that Riley, okay, well, give credit, it's an okay character arc. You know, she went through this like traumatic sexual abuse that occurred in her past. And now she's, you know, fighting back, overcoming that, finding that confidence again in order to, you know, reclaim herself again in a sense.
We're gonna be okay.
Oh, God.
Who the hell were those guys? Something crazy is going on.
Yeah, no shit. A bunch of dudes just try to kill us.
No, I mean, I saw that guy before. The night of the talent show, the Deeks were doing some sort of ritual with the pledges. No, this felt different. It was like they were doing something with this black stuff that was coming out of the founder's bust. It was like black magic or sorcery or something.
So you're telling me you think the DKO boys possessed their pledges in some supernatural hazing ritual?
I'm sorry, you said black magic. Yeah, okay. Chris has a complete 180 character arc. The whole movie, Chris throughout the whole movie is like, we gotta like fight for women, we gotta fight for the rights and
Something's going down.
But the moment we are confronted with an ordeal where she has to like actually do something of some significance, she's like, well, I wanna do that.
I thought that you were a fighter.
I believe Riley eventually goes to DKO. At this time, she finds Landon. He agrees to help her and acts as sort of like a distraction, right? And the way this guy goes about distracting the DKO like clan at this point.
Hey, not cool! You ruined my mixer! You piece of shit!
What do you want, Chris?
I want you to suck a fat fart because you just got Zeta'd.
Oh man, this is so stupid. This is why I'm like, the Twitter mob had to have written the script of this movie, or at least contributed, like fill in the blanks, at least with the writers of the script, because we get a scene in which they say that the ringing, I guess, in your head, the way we control the fraternity members is by bringing out your inner alpha.
Got a headache, bro? That's just the founder drawing out your true alpha.
Your fucking inner alpha. Like, what is happening in this freaking movie? This is so stupid, guys. It's so freaking dumb. Anyway, I guess Landon gets possessed and he's like, I don't know, is he now a part of this clique? I thought you had to have the black goo on your head. Evidently you don't. You can just possess anybody you want. So we got that happening. And then Laura Croft infiltrates the basement and tries to find that room again where that, you know, black goo ritual was going on. Finds the room, sees the bust right there, center stage. As she approaches it, she starts hearing a scream take place. And I don't know if it was like her inner, like, PTSD coming out of, you know, her sexual abuse that occurred. Maybe she wants to help. She hears a girl screaming, so it's like something like maybe like a click in her head, like, I gotta help this person, right? Rather than just ending the movie right then and there. So she goes to see what the screaming is all about.
Oh, thank God you're here. You're alive. You're okay now. You're okay.
It's ambushed by drunk sister and in a kind of like, I called it, not really, because she's not really the killer. I guess she's helping the frat, gets blindsided and knocked out. And now we have Chris. Chris, who was driving around, I guess she was gonna go get help, stumbles upon the sorority from the beginning of the film, who also had been defending themselves, mind you. And I guess now she has like girls in front of her, she's gotta like impress them. So she's like, you know, we gotta help her. We gotta go back. We gotta do what we can. We gotta save the day. We gotta get those guys. And as Riley is tied up in the basement, we get some stupid ass backstory of,
you see, when your friend, Miss Waterson, had the founder's statue removed and brought here,
the boys discovered something magical hidden inside.
Towards the end of his life, Hawthorne foresaw the threat posed by women. So he took precautions in case they strayed too far out of line. A master of the dark arts, he left instructions on how to create an army of young men to take our power back.
What the fuck is happening in this movie? Put some black goo into the statue thing, right? Give like these guys like, what, like killer powers or possess them? I don't freaking care and mind that I don't remember anything about this movie. Anyway, we get the most ridiculous conclusion to this movie. This movie has already been so freaking dumb. But then, in order to... It's like they had to shoehorn this last scene in. As Riley is there, tied up in a endgame on your left kind of routine, we get Chris and all the badass bitches storming through the door and start fighting back at the fraternity.
You messed with the wrong sisters.
The fact that they've already given us this backstory about this black goo, they have these, it not necessarily enhanced strength.
We read the incantation inside the bust, and the spirit of Calvin Hawthorne filled the pledges, possessing them with supernatural strength.
A good 30 guys in this freaking basement. There's like 12 girls. You're telling me these girls are able to hold their own against, I don't agree, I don't think that's the case, but we're gonna go ahead and just get the fucking done with this movie. Chris is defending herself, she's going against Robin of Locksley. She burns like Professor Elvis over here, there starts to get a fire. Riley eventually gets to the bust.
And you only break yourselves.
We will never be broken.
I guess like Landon now at this point, Soy Boy gets like recovered from his like possession or some shit. And they all the girls and Landon leave this basement that is currently on fire and essentially kill all of these dudes trapped in there. These dudes, mind you, who have been possessed, who have been manipulated, who are not really acting in their own interest because of like this black goo that takes over you. They just kill them. The guys are no longer possessed because the bust is destroyed because Landon came back, so ergo, you would assume that all those guys are like, oh shit, what's happening? Boom. But no, Riley and co murder a bunch of innocent dudes. Maybe one or two of them, like, maybe killed one of her friends. I don't know. A lot of these deaths just happen off screen, so I can't really tell you. But yeah, she just murders them. You would think that Riley, based on her being raped, based on the sexual abuse that she suffered, is someone that is aware of, not being in control of the situation, who's being manipulated, who's being played during the whole time, right? And maybe that's me being just very surface level of the situation, right? But it's like these guys here are not fully aware of what they're doing. And could you imagine just being in that basement, coming to you and be like, oh, what the shit? Oh shit, I'm on fire now. And they just watch it. They just watch the fire that they started, kill a bunch of people. And that's the end of the movie. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. Again, as somebody who's been a huge fan, and maybe I didn't talk about it as much as I wanted to throughout this discussion, but the 2006 movie, the 2006 reboot of Black Christmas has so many more powerful female characters in it, and they don't necessarily talk down to you. They don't try to make this whole like men are bad, women are good. It's just a standard, let's find the strength inside of us to overcome this situation. As women, we can come together as a sorority, as sisterhood, and overcome this threat. Granted, pretty much everyone besides, Black Canary in that movie get, taken out. But again, they Black Canary goes through this whole, my boyfriend's cheating on me with one of my other sisters, and she gets upset at that, but then she eventually comes together with him in order to form this kinship in order to overcome the threat of Billy, who's killing everybody. And it's like, that makes sense. I mean, again, maybe it's because this movie, 2019, maybe it's not really made for me. Maybe I just didn't understand it, right? I can only imagine, as I said at the beginning of the review, that the 1974 audience saw the 2006 one, and they're like, what the fuck is this? And for somebody who enjoyed the 2006 one, seeing the 2019 one, I'm like, this is garbage. So, maybe, I don't know. I'm sure there's people out there that enjoyed it. I don't know who, And again, it has to be, I'm convinced that this movie was 100% satirical in how these characters were created and how they acted. That's the only thing that could make sense to me. Anyway, that's it. That's the movie, guys. Black Christmas 2019. I wanted to release this video before 2021. But you know what? I got lazy. I wanted to spend some time with some family and not really worry about this fucking movie. Anyway, whatever. It is what it is. It's my channel. I'll do whatever I want. Thank you guys so much for staying this long at this point. I wanted to do something a little longer this time around because this was a little bit more of like a ranty movie and I just had to like talk about as much as I could about this film. Anyway, if you want to watch it, cool. It's on HBO Max. I don't recommend it. You pretty much saw everything and heard everything in this review at this point, so it is what it is, guys. Anyway, this is SomeJoeSchmoe saying peace, love, harmony. Have a decent, I guess, second week of 2021. We're already getting chaos, so might as well just keep the good times going, guys. Namaste, and we'll see you guys next video.